Okay, I'm going to be making me thick pork soup out of my Japanese cookbook. And right now, let me just go ahead and cut up the potatoes into chunks. And then I will work on preparing the rest of this. I'm going to be doubling this recipe because I want to use up that whole, you see that radish over there? That's actually a Korean radish, but the recipe calls for daikon, but I think it'll work. It looks similar to daikon. So let me go ahead and work on cutting up the potatoes. Yeah, these are kind of old potatoes, so I definitely need to make this recipe. I need to cut them into serving size chunks. Then what I do is I store the potatoes in water while I'm preparing the other ingredients so they don't get brown on me. That'll work. About that size. So, yeah. There. Like about that size right there. Yeah, so let me just go ahead and cut up my 3 potatoes here. Make them all about this size, serving size, and then I'll work on my next ingredients. Oh, by the way, this vegetable peeler has sentimental value to me. This is actually my mother's vegetable peeler, which she gave me in the 1980s, and it is the best vegetable peeler ever. They just don't make them like they used to, man. I have had this since the 1980s, and it is the best. It's my mother's. She gave it to me, I think, as a wedding present when I married my ex-husband, and I just have had it all these years. Nothing works like this. It is the best. It's got sentimental value for me because my mother is in heaven now with my stepdad, Bill. It happened in October. So, yeah. I have a lot of stuff in my apartment that's from my mother. Anyways, let me finish cutting up the potatoes. There they all are. 3 Idaho potatoes, or russets. And they're all cut up, and I put them in water so they don't brown on me. The next thing I'm going to work on is cutting up the radish. These are actually Korean radishes. The recipe called for daikon, but I think those will work. So let me go ahead and work on those next. I was reading up on these Korean radishes, and they say you don't need to peel them, but it has some, I don't think I want that, so I'm going to go ahead and peel it, and then I'm going to cut it into chunks maybe about the same size as the potatoes. Yeah, so let me work on that. I waited a little too long before I cooked it. There's a little mold there that I'm going to kind of dig out. Yeah. I bought it about several weeks ago, so let's just take that out. I don't want mold in here. And when I cut it up, if I notice that there's some moldy spots and stuff, I'll just take them out. Yep. Cut this off. It smells just like daikon. I was smelling it, so it should work well in this recipe. They didn't have daikon radish at the Asian store. I could probably get them if I wanted to go to Whole Foods, but I didn't feel like bothering. This looks like it'll work. Okay, let me just let me see how that looks. This is a thick one, so I don't want to cut my finger off. If I remember correctly, kind of the best way to do it is like that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see right there. Oh, I need a better light. Yeah. What I'm going to do is kind of cut that out. Actually, I can go this way. There we go. That'll work. Okay, let me just go ahead and cube this, and then I'll stick it over here. So, once you get past cutting the real thick one, it's really easy to cut it into smaller pieces. So there, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and cut that up like that, and then put it over in that pot right over there. I find the best way to cut something this thick is kind of like this. kind of like roll it like this. Just make sure you don't get your finger. Kind of like roll the knife down like that. This one's tricky right here because I don't want to cut my finger. Whoa! Yeah, anyways, you see, that's, yeah, you want to make sure your finger's now below that. Let me go ahead and cut it into smaller chunks. There's the radish. The recipe also calls for carrots, approximately, let's see, approximately the equivalent of 2 small carrots. Those are already pre-washed, so I'm just going to cut them up and I'll probably throw them with the radish. Well, yeah, I'll get them ready next. I needed to use these up. I actually bought me a new bag of carrots too because I'm planning on making curry some other day because I love my curry with potatoes and carrots. Anyways, let me go ahead and chop these up. Probably into bite size, you know. Let me take off some of the ends here. They're already washed and peeled. That'll just throw that in there. So basically, I'm going to cut them up like that. Just throw them in there. That one's good. And throw them in there, and they'll be good just like that. And the ginger, I actually froze this months ago, and it's ready to go just like that. So let me go ahead, and I have some frozen green onions that I got to remember to throw in too. So let's go ahead and continue to prepare the ingredients. The next thing I'm going to do is cut the pork into chunks, and then I'll put them back in here. Yeah, so let me just go ahead and remove some of the fat here. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and cut this pork into chunks. Get it ready for the thick pork soup. Yeah, that's good. So like that, yeah, like that. Okay, and then I'll just throw them right back in here. And let's go ahead and work on yeah, I'm throwing them right back in there. And then we'll go ahead and work on that. Okay, I've laid all the ingredients out. There's some miso paste, the potatoes, the pork, carrots, and the daikon, or the Korean radish. And let me just go ahead and go over here and get ready to cook the pork with the, I wonder if I can get this higher. Well, anyways, it's going to go. I'm going to be cooking pork and ginger in here. We're going to be heating 2 tablespoons of oil over high heat. Like I said, I'm doubling this recipe. Let's see, do I have the, I'm using canola oil. This is my Dutch oven. The pan hasn't got hot yet, so this will work. Alright, once the oil heats up, then I'm going to throw in the pork pieces and the ginger. Okay, I can hear it popping in there. So let's go ahead and throw in the pork. And throw in the ginger. Go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is saute the chopped ginger root and pork chunks. And then when I'm done with this, I'll be adding water. Oh my goodness, I should have been swirling it around. The pork is sticking to the bottom. This is the bad thing about filming, is I try to concentrate on filming and cooking at the same time, and it would be helpful to have. I'm using a tripod. Okay, I lowered the heat just a bit. Okay. So that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of swirling it around like that. Okay, those Jesuits made me choke on my stick. I'm telling you. They apparently don't like this cooking video. Okay, next thing you do. Add I'm going to need 10 cups of water because I'm doubling the recipe. Let's go ahead and add that in there. One, two, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, there's 10 cups of water. I gotta add potatoes, carrots, and daikon radish. Let's go ahead and drain these potatoes. I don't want to put any more water in there because this is supposed to be thick pork soup. One of them fell out. Yeah, this is supposed to be thick pork soup. Okay, so. Okay, let's just go ahead and throw this in here. There's potatoes. Oh my goodness, I hope it didn't fall over the side. Nope, we're lucky here. Definitely can't do more than doubling the recipe with this. This is going to last me for a while. Yeah, I'll be good for a couple days at least. Okay. Yeah, look at that. It's all the way to the top of the pan. Okay, what I do now is I cook this until the potatoes are almost done. So I'll film when the potatoes are almost done. I'm preparing the miso ahead of time. I'm going to be putting it, this is about 6 tablespoons of miso, which I got out of here. And when it's time for me to add the first batch of miso in, I'll be taking it from there. And I'm going to make a second batch, which will be about that same amount, which I'll put in later. So I'll be taking it out of here. So let's go ahead and get that ready. The recipe calls for 5 to 6 tablespoons of miso. And I doubled the recipe, so I have about 10 right here. I'm going to try to go a little less salt. So there's 6 over here and 4 over here. So this will be the amount I put in the first time. So you'll find out when I get to that step. Okay, now I need to add the miso paste. The potatoes are almost done, so actually they may be done. Throw that in there. And then we cook until all the vegetables are done, and then we'll be removing the scum. Yeah, let me just kind of spread the miso paste around. So. Yeah, the potatoes are just about done. So I'm kind of spreading the miso paste around that I just threw in here. Spreading it throughout the soup. I love Asian food. I was raised on food like this, so that's what I like to eat. I'm thinking of going tomorrow to the Asian grocery store and getting more furikake. That's my sinful treat. It's this like Japanese seaweed sprinkle that I put on white short grain rice. Oh, that looks good. Just kind of a like it's going to be a real Japanese tasting soup here. Just kind of. Okay, but they say that this radish is pretty healthy for you too. So the Japanese cuisine, they say, is pretty healthy, you know. Regardless, I was raised on it, so I like it. So let me just go ahead and cook this until all the vegetables are done, and then I will go ahead and take the scum off. Yeah, the scum isn't too bad, you know. I'll decide what I'll do when I get to that point. I'm just spreading around the miso paste. That looks good. Okay. I just tasted it and it's salty enough for me, so I will not be putting this in. I'll just put it back in the bag. Yep. So I will modify the recipe and cut back on the miso paste because that's just too much salt. Yeah, this is perfect for me. So let's just go ahead and continue to cook it. And I will not be adding any more miso paste. I will modify the recipe at my website because I do not like the food so salty that I can't taste the food. And I just tasted the soup, and this is the right amount of miso paste. I'm not putting any more in. I'm not going to worry about taking the scum out. As you can tell, I'm not following this recipe perfectly. But you can do that if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and add in the green onions. These were chopped ahead of time. Needs to be approximately 4 of them. I've noticed these Korean radishes are a little bit spicier than daikon, but that's okay. I kind of like my food spicy. I think it'll still be good. So I'll put in maybe about that much. Yeah, that's good. But you can see I'm not following the recipe exactly. Because I don't want to put in exactly 4 because those radishes are a little spicy, and then of course the green onions are going to make it spicy. So that's about how much I want. However, if you're using daikon, 4 onions might be better. So, so there it is. Let me get some. That looks really good. Yeah, that looks really good. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and get a good picture of this. All right. Okay, that is what it looks like. Let's go this way. So that is the soup, and then I will try it out and let you know. Okay, I can tell you I've already had this, but let's go ahead and let you know. Really good. The Korean radish works really good in place of the daikon. This is really good. There it is. It has a wonderful flavor. Really, really good.